Hey everyone, it's Jonathan. I am so excited to be with you guys today. We are going to be doing a super special webinar today. We're going to be talking about bots. And most of you know, I've got some mixed feelings about AI bots. We're going to chat about that a little bit today. I'm really excited. We've got Dan and Brittany with us, as well as Rob from Elite AI, and they're going to try to change my opinion a little bit here about AI bots, and they may succeed. We've talked before. I'll let that out of the bag, but I do have some concerns, and I want to talk about those. And I'm really excited because Dan and Brittany have made some pretty big promises to me about things they can show me. They haven't done it all yet. So we're going to have them show me live here. I thought it'd be great if we shared that with all of you at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and pull this in. Let me introduce everybody real quick. So we've got Dan and Brittany Fisher. Say hi, guys. We've got Rob. Hey, Rob. And today we're going to start talking about AI bots. So Dan and Brittany, I told you guys I was going to start with this, and I want to dive in because I had a I shouldn't say pleasant, not such a great AI bot experience this week. And I'm going to call out the company, not because they're bad, but because I've owned a lot of their cars over the years and I like them. It's American Honda. Our family's in the market for a new minivan. We're looking around, and I admit I'm doing some price shopping. And I've told the people that I've contacted, we went to the website, and American Honda makes it easy. You basically go out and say, contact these dealers for a price. So I did. And I started chatting with them. A lot of them texted me back, and I'm good with that because I don't really want to talk to everybody on the phone. Texting's a lot easier. And in the process of doing that, I tell them, by the way, right up front, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Here's the vehicle I want. And by the way, I know you probably don't like it, but I'm price shopping right now. I'm looking for the best price. If you don't want to respond, I respect that, no problem. And a number of them, in fact, I think they've all responded. And we were having a good conversation. It was sending me, and I say, yeah, the person on the other end, I thought, by the way, they made a huge mistake. They never identified it was a bot. I think that's a mistake. Two, they started sending me pictures of the VIN or the vehicle I wanted, even pictures that they had at that dealership. Asked me some good questions, and I said, okay, it's time to talk pricing. You've given me information. I told you up front, this was a pricing, I'm shopping for price, and it sent me list price, and it said, what do you think? And I said, well, no offense, but I've already got better deals than list price. So if you want the business, list price isn't going to do. And then the bot started arguing with me, but I didn't know it was a bot. And it was like, I just asked you, or I just sent you retail price. I didn't ask you what you thought of it. And I'm like, I literally took a screenshot from my phone and sent it back and said, and I can read it to get the exact text. I'm paraphrasing. So if you're watching this, but it's very close to what it said. I sent it back and I said, you asked me the question. Here it was. And it said, I was just sending you a price, and I said, whatever it did. I literally told it, stop arguing with me. You're supposed to be selling me a car. And then I thought, I bet I'm not talking to a person. So I said, am I talking to a bot or a human? And I will give it credit. It said, if you'd like to talk to a human sales rep, I can arrange that. I said, yes, I do. So American Honda, you need to fix your sales bot. I don't know if it was yours or the dealerships, but it needs to be fixed. So Dan and Brittany, this brings up a huge question. Most of us on this call, we're not the size and magnitude of American Honda. We don't have that type of budget. And if they're messing up their sales bot and potentially alienating a customer, now they're not. I'm still buying the vehicle I want because I've owned multiples before. But if that's the case, how can I, as a small or medium-sized business, trust that my AI bot's not going to mess me up? So I'm going to toss that over. I don't think it's a softball. Tell me, guys, how do we deal with this?
No, this is such an awesome point. And this is exactly why we brought Rob on today. Rob is our CTO over here at Elite. And funny enough, he used to work at car dealerships. So we saw your, I think it was like a reel or something yesterday on this dealership experience, and we were all kind of geeking out. We were like, oh my gosh, we have to talk to everybody and tell them the truth. And I mean, I'm going to turn it over to Rob because this is absolutely his passion and area of expertise, is talking about making these bots in a way that's has integrity and also that is safeguarded. And there's so many people right now that are not taking the extra time that's required to do that.
Yep.
All right. Well, Rob, we're going to give you center stage. Talk to us about this. I assume I'm not the only story you've ever heard of this happening. And again, it wasn't like the Air Canada experience where they're giving away free flights or anything like that. But let's face it, most of us as business owners are thinking about using these bots in sales to help us out with sales. And in this case, fortunately, the rep got on, and I'm an understanding guy most of the time. And I'm like, I get it. No problem. They were appropriately apologetic. And they're like, trust me, it will never happen again. I'm like, it's okay. I get it. But how do we avoid that as a small and medium business and make sure that our bots aren't, alienating our prospects before we even get a chance to talk to them?
Yeah, 100%. So I think there's a few things to unpack here as far as where this kind of went wrong, right? Number one, I think you nailed it on the head, John, which is obviously this thing needs to be putting a disclaimer out there, first of all, that you're engaging in a conversation with AI. And whether that's, you opted into their site online and they included it in their terms and conditions, or it initiated the conversation, there needs to be some sort of disclaimer that you have to be aware, right? So we'll lead with that. But going into it a little bit further, there's a lot of different companies right now that are implementing these kind of AI technologies, especially we've seen that throughout this year. A lot of sales agents, customer service, all kinds of different AI bots that are being utilized for all kinds of different things. And I think one of the there's so many people coming into the market that it's really hard to find subject matter experts, people who actually have had experience the way we have as far as experimenting with many different AI platforms for calls, texts, emails, WhatsApp, all kinds of communication methods. And we actually later in our call, we're going to be bringing up some points on that as well, showing you guys kind of our thoughts on the different platforms and which ones perform better than others. But the issue that I see here, John, is they kept it at a single layer, right? And that's where you kind of can tell very easily right now at this moment in the market, whether you're working with a company that has experience or someone that's kind of new to the game. If you're doing single level AI bot and you're just having this AI bot that you're training on having communication with these people without having, say, a supervisor that kind of analyzes every conversation before actually sending a message, that's where you can kind of start going wrong with these things. You need to view this kind of as a team of AI agents, and each one of them is kind of specialized. So you can't view it as a human where you have someone that is just able to respond to an email without anyone kind of looking over their shoulder, right? We definitely want to put safeguards in place. Since we're super early, we want to put safeguards in place to make sure that these things are being double checked before anything actually goes out. So you can kind of imagine there would be a supervisor, a host agent, which is the one that receives the initial communication from John, who says he's interested. And then from there, that host agent sends it to a specialized agent who specializes in SMS conversations to kind of generate a response, which then goes back to that supervisor bot that has a different subset of rules before finally sending that message. So again, I think what went wrong there was definitely just keeping it at that single level. And just lack of proper prompting at the end of the day, because we do have some experience, especially when we were starting out, where we had single level agents where we weren't, passing this off to a supervisor or doing anything like that. And with the right prompting and training, it would still be able to have handled that scenario with you. I mean, I think, again, from a technical standpoint, what I see is it asked you to give it a number that you were good with. And it was trained on getting a number out of you so that then it could run some sort of task to get you a quote and carry on from there. And so maybe what I think may have happened was, because it's so hard trained on you must get a number out of the client, it might have gone back and forth with you there for a little bit where it got a little bit argumentative. And I'm sure that that's what probably happened.
I appreciate you sharing that. That makes a lot of sense. So what I'm hearing you say, Rob, that a big part of setting up a bot effectively is making sure, one, it has the right goal and the right objective, and to probably make sure, and again, and I'm going to try to find the exact text so I can read it off. I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to pick on American Honda. I love your vehicles. But I just think just so happened that you gave me a great example for this webinar, which has been scheduled now for goodness over a month. So I wanted to bring that up and chat about that. Talk to me as a business owner. Again, I don't do chatbots. I do a lot of AI stuff, but I don't do chatbots. How do I make sure that I don't screw this up when I'm setting it up? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, no, we can take that. But yeah, I mean, and we talked about this a little bit, I think, last week.
Yep.
But we have 3 layers of safeguards built into what we're doing. If you're doing it on your own, this is an opportunity where we're going to be talking a little bit about this today, but the software that we're recommending to the DIYers out there, that you are on a budget, you do want to create something yourself, but you have a business that's at least medium risk, or you're just concerned in general and wanting to ensure that you're being compliant, ensure that those safeguards are in place, which I think any good business owner right now is doing. We have the software that does that for you. And we are doing a webinar this Saturday, just exclusively for John's group at the $97 price point. It is a 1-hour session, and we are going to show you how to create your own agent. And for life, it'll be evergreen. You'll have access to our template library, which are the AIs that we have created. So all the templates will be there. We'll show you how to hook it up to a phone number and a calendar, and we'll talk a lot about those safeguards during that call this Saturday. But we'll dive into that a little bit more later. Something that I think is really interesting, and we're going to kind of be talking about this at the end today, so don't leave, is we're going to be talking about where this conversational AI is going, because it's so crazy. And for those of you who don't know much about myself, I actually started off as a speech language pathologist, so I know a whole lot about communication. I'm really passionate about it. And the new tools that are coming out are so in-depth and just so cool. But our goal today was for Dan to be able to show you just a teaser of that software that we're doing that little accelerator for this Saturday, so that you can get a behind the scenes look at what this software really looks like. And then we're going to talk to the bot that we edit right afterwards.
Sounds good. I just saw Rob shared the screen. So Rob, I don't know if that's one you wanted me to share or not. Me trying to produce in the background here, which is always interesting. Awesome. Go ahead, Brittany.
Yeah, we can load up ours here.
Yeah, let's demonstrate what you guys want to do. Let me go ahead and share your screen.
Sure.
We never know where it's going to go live. So there we go. All right. So Dan and Brittany got the screen. We get to see a little bit of that window effect there.
Perfect.
Here,
okay.
Are you guys all set?
All set. Yeah, I got a couple things I want to show. And before I get into the actual back end of the software, I kind of want to just kind of show where we are in this whole voice AI process of adoption. And I know a lot of people have probably seen this if they went to marketing school, but there's a lot of people who have never heard of this. And this is the product adoption curve. And really what we're seeing is, it's kind of like the .com bubble and how that all worked out in the 90s. Like, we are seeing the gold rush of AI and everyone flocking to it. And we're seeing the innovators, the last year, the innovators and, the early adopters have really owned this space. And where everyone else kind of lives is the early majority and the late majority. And these are the people that need to have a little bit more evidence. And then the late majority is even more evidence. And there's sometimes even skeptics in there. So where we are with this is really interesting, because, we've really had the innovators and adopters really pushing this really hard. And, whenever you get those one level things in the tech that's kind of messing up, you get the innovators. That's just the people that are trying it. They're okay with a little bit of risk. They're okay with a little bit of a client experience that may not be the best, but it's getting to the point where we're now tapping into the early majority, and people are actually really appreciating it, because now they can see there's tons of evidence. We got lots of case studies that's going through. And so now they're getting more and more comfortable with adopting it. And I think those are the people that we're going to be seeing the DIY. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm kind of, I want to focus on today and on Saturday, is we have all these people. I see about 50-50. So there's 50% of the people want to do it themselves, and 50% of them don't want to touch it and they want to pay someone else to do it. So this would be someone that, this is actually Thoughtly, and we're elite partners. We're one of 5 elite partners with them. And essentially, we have gone through so many softwares, and this is the one I think is the best for DIYers. So this is something where it's, it's almost like if-then trees, and you can see, how it's set up here. It's a little bit of a linear process. There's not coding. You don't have to do too much APIs unless you were going way advanced in it. But with Thoughtly, you can get a working inbound number, and you can get a working outbound number, as long as you have like a CSV or contacts that you want to launch them from. So I wanted to show you just the back end A lot of people have never seen the back end of this. They probably just assume that it's just you have to be a huge tech guy that knows a bunch of code. There's no code whatsoever. And what you do is you pick a starting point. Sometimes that could be something that could trigger it, but this would be like an outbound conversation, and John will actually send this. So we'll send you a demo of this exact thing.
Awesome.
But what it really does is you go through the process. So one thing that I really use that helps me is I go to ChatGPT or Perplexity. I load in a script, have it analyze it for me, and give it to me line by line. And even before we go to the tree, you can actually create one. Get that script that you got from Perplexity or Thoughtly or ChatGPT, and you can import it right in here, and it makes a pretty good phone tree for you. So most of it's mostly done. You just go through and edit it and make sure that all the custom fields are okay. But yeah, you go through, you put in what you want it to say right here in the instructions, and then you can actually get its outcome. So if someone says sure or not now, you can have different processes for each outcome, and you can have it be as specific as hey, I'm not interested in it right now, or you can just say like negative answer or positive outcome. All of those things can really turn into the process that you need. Here's a cool one. So let's say someone goes through and says, oh, you know what, I'm not interested right now. You can actually program it to handle objections as needed. Now, this is where you really want to, this is where I teach you how to put those safeguards in, because you can actually put additional rules. You can say like, don't talk about pricing. If it was American Honda, you can have it talk about or not talk about things. So you can put all of your rules right here.
Right, route it over to a person. Don't have this discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then you can say like, okay, are they interested after they've handled an objection? Do they have more questions, or are they not interested? If they're not interested, we can take it over to the end call node, which is right here, and then it goes, sounds good, appreciate your time, and they end the call. Or if after handling those objections, it takes it right back into I'm interested. So then it goes right back into the process and handles that. So this is the easiest way that you can do it. And Jonathan, like you were saying, like it keeps the DIYer safeguarded because it's really linear. It's you're not with API codes or anything like that.
You're not giving away free flights.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't let you give away free flights.
Oh, well, that's a big deal. I think that's something we all get worried about at some level, going, oh, what is this going to do that we're not aware of? And obviously that's not something we want to be struggling with either. So I like it. So yeah, I mean, it sounds great. You guys had mentioned that I know you've got a special promo that you're doing for my group, and I'm so grateful for that, to literally kind of walk them through. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I know at the end we're going to do it, so if I'm jumping ahead, I apologize, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, because again, this looks really easy, but it strikes me that it'd be really helpful to have a little guidance along the way. So can you tell me a little bit what you're planning for Saturday?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is our Voice AI Accelerator course, and it would normally go for $297. We're doing it for $97 only for John's group. It's going to be this Saturday, the 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's 1 hour, of course. If you can't attend live, that's absolutely fine. We'll send you the recording. But essentially, you'll get 50% off your first minutes on Thoughtly, and you'll get our entire template library. And our guarantee to you is within that hour, by the end of it, after you see what we've done, we'll show you how to put those safeguards in place. And then again, keep in mind, our templates are already pretty well safeguarded, right? So if you need something like a simple scheduler or a lead qualifier, that's something we can help you with, that we probably already have it there, pretty confident to the way that most people are using it. And, we've been at this a while. And we also, for those of you that are maybe, not quite there yet, we figured we've scraped our knees enough with the top 5 voice AI platforms that are out there right now, that we went through and we created just a freebie for your group as well, that basically covers all of the different features, like how much AI expertise you need, pricing, customability, all of those pieces for the top 5 voice AI platforms. So That's the other piece of what we're offering. And then of course, if you are using a voice AI platform right now and you're having trouble with it, or you just have questions and you want to talk to us, I think that's something that's really cool about what we're doing. And we'll talk about that after we get to test out this voice AI agent. But we have helped plenty of DIYers and small to medium-sized business owners. That's actually a big passion of Dan and mine, is giving entrepreneurs more freedom and being able to make you feel confident. And we will never sell you something that you are not ready for or that your industry is not ready for. And I think what's really cool about this $97 voice accelerator is, first of all, if you do purchase it and you decide you want to move forward and work with us, then it's an investment moving forward into the future. And if not, it's evergreen. So we'll constantly be updating it if you're not ready right now. And if there's new courses that we can drop to you or new little tidbits as we go along, you'll always have access to those.
Plus we'll be giving you, and this is what I was showing you here, this screen is some of our templates. Now this isn't the right account, but this is what they'll look like. So we'll actually send you over different bots, and we'll have different industries. We'll probably have 5 to 10 industries in there, as well as like an explainer assistant, which is great to put on your website and can answer questions through your frequently asked questions, or just like a scheduler bot. So we'll get you guys the basics and then a couple of different industries in there as well.
Awesome. That's great. Now, you guys had also mentioned going in, we're going to actually be able to do a bit of a demo. Is that true? Is that something we can show to everybody?
Yeah, I think we got your number ahead of time.
Yeah, we did it right this time. Yeah. Last time if you guys didn't join us, we did a little preview about a week ago, and without even thinking about it, my wife came in and grabbed my phone because she needed a 2-factor authentication code for one of our accounts. And then I got on the call with Dan and Brittany, and so she didn't bring it back in because she knew I was on a video call. And then in the middle of it, Brittany's like, "What's your number?" And I'm like, "Where'd my phone go?" But this time I've got it. So we're ready to go. And while we're doing that, if you guys are interested in that course that's being offered, I put a link there right on the screen. You guys can click that at any point in time. I'll leave that up there as we talk. So where do we want to start with the demo, guys?
Yeah, so we'll give you a buzz. So this is for,
Actually, I can dial in, I think.
What was that?
Can you can dial in with it? Oh no, Rob.
Yeah, Rob will trigger the call for us for today. But
Rob, are you calling me now? I've got a call coming in. I want to make sure it's you or not.
That's me. Well, not
All
me,
right.
but
all right, I'm going to throw it on speaker. All
Hey,
right.
John, this is Chris with Bush & Sullivan. How's your day going?
Going well, thank you.
I'm glad to hear that, man. You still selling that property down in Miami?
I sure am.
I've been keeping an eye on your area, and properties like yours are selling at record prices. Just last week, our firm sold a home in Bay Harbor for $2.4 million, which was 15% over the asking price. I believe we could achieve something similar for you. Would you be open to discussing how we can help make that happen?
Yeah, can I ask how you got my number?
I have a list of potential sellers in the area. It helps me connect with people like you who might be interested in selling. So you want to discuss your property?
I'd be open to it, but can you tell me a bit more about what you do and why I should work with you?
Sure. I specialize in high-end properties like yours. For example, I recently helped the Johnsons sell their estate in your neighborhood within 2 weeks after it had been sitting on the market for months. I focus on getting top dollar for my clients. Maybe we could meet up and see if I can offer you the same level of service.
Yeah, I'd be willing to talk about that. Do we do Zoom or phone, or how do we meet up?
We can do either, whatever works best for you. How about we set up a brief meeting to go over some ideas? I'm available all week, including weekends. What day works best for you?
Well, I didn't quite understand that. What was that last part? Did you say you're in lava?
No, I said I'm available all week, including weekends. What day works best for you?
Must have been my phone. Generally, Tuesdays are best for me.
Great. Do you prefer mornings or afternoons on Tuesday?
Let's do morning. How early do you get going?
9. I can do 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. Which works better for you?
Definitely 9.
Perfect. I'll also send over a market analysis so you can see the current trends. What's a good email address for you?
Jonathan at whitebeardstrategies.com.
Got it. Jonathan at whitebeardstrategies.com. I appreciate your time and look forward to meeting with you. Have a great day. Thank
you. Well, guys, I got to say that was pretty impressive, even though the fact my phone did mess up. And as you saw, I was trying to throw it a few curveballs, and it did a really good job of answering those. I mean, one of them, it may have been my phone, it may have been that side, but it recovered. Not a big deal. I like that. Tell me a little bit what's behind that bot, and obviously I know it's a real estate, type thing, but tell me a little bit what's behind that, so that we can have a little better understanding of, again, where that's coming from. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, actually, Rob designed this off of one of the top sales guys in Miami, I believe it was, right, Rob? So
yeah, that's correct.
Yep. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. We utilized essentially we got scripts from one of the top real estate agencies in the South Florida area, and we partnered with them in order to be able to utilize what they currently use for their actual calls. That's a model there that's still under development. It's about to be fully launched within the coming weeks. But as you can see, that was a good sample of what it could do there. You were asking what's behind it. Is that correct, John?
Kind of, more or less. I mean, we don't have to get on all the tech stack. I know I don't care really what's behind it there, but I guess, part of what was impressive to me was just the fact that even when I asked it some harder questions and I had to think, the delays weren't unreasonable. It was almost like somebody was thinking it's like, when I was at the end there, I'm like, mornings would be better. And it had started to offer 9 o'clock at that point in time. It recovered and sounded to me much like a normal person would, because when I interrupt you, they're generally going to be quiet for a second, making sure that, I wasn't going to say anything more. I just thought it seemed pretty natural overall. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was really good. And my experience generally has been with text-based bots, not voice. So one of the questions I've gotten, again, I'm less concerned about specific technology, but how do you guys get it to respond so quickly? Because so many of the voice ones I've heard, there's a noticeable
latency
delay between everything that we talk about.
Definitely. So I think to that point, I believe Dan and Britt had brought with them a little model that we could kind of take a look at, where we could compare the different platforms that are currently out in the market. But really what it comes down to, John, a lot of different platforms are using different kinds of tech in order to piece this all together. So for AI callers, you can kind of imagine it's like a 3-step process. We have a transcriber, which is listening to what John is saying, turning that into text, running that through a language model like ChatGPT, which is prompted and trained on how it should be behaving itself throughout the conversation. And then that gets sent to a voice model. I'm sure many of you here today, if you're in the space, you've heard of 11 Labs. There's many different ones out there, but essentially that gets sent over to a voice model, which then gives an output. And it really is just about piecing the right tech together in order to reduce those delays. So Thoughtly, for example, does a fantastic job. As far as the language model that they're using is extremely fast, because they use custom language models that they build for all the agents. The transcriber, I mean, those are pretty standard. Those are already fast as is. You're getting that under 100 milliseconds, no problem. And then now, most recently, with 11 Labs coming out with 11 Turbo v2.5, which is essentially the newest voice model that they have available. Not only has latency improved, but quality has also, and that's what you see there. So yeah, I don't know if you guys wanted to take a look at the document that you guys had prepared here, Dan and Britt. I don't know if you can share that.
Freebie, Rob. So that'll be something that if you go through and go through that link, that'll be the first step. That's free to anyone. The second step is obviously going to go to the class. But one of the more important things is, in our ethics and ethos, is really the fact that, and I told Jonathan this before, is that we kind of look at AI as how Disney looks at their movies. Like, they have the ability to make a realistic looking human, but they don't. They make an ultra cartoon person that has huge eyes and is very cute. And I think that's where AI needs to be right now, at least. It needs to be a really fluid performance. So if there's any choppiness or anything like that, immediately someone's going to go agent or give me someone on the phone. But if you can keep it like a really smooth process and a good customer experience, as well as setting the expectation that it's AI, there's going to be a lot, you can unlock a lot more. And that's kind of like where Rob was going with that, is like where we believe the software should be.
Right. And it's really interesting too, because, and I know we mentioned this a little bit last week, but for those of you who weren't there, when we've set those expectations, we work with lawyers, law firms across the country, like even things that would be considered a little bit more delicate, right? And they're high stakes. So you can imagine we would never get into an industry like that if we didn't have good safeguards in what we're doing in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And what we found was really interesting was that people were actually responding better when we set that expectation of you're going to be qualified with an AI agent. It's going to be a 1 to 3 minute call. And should you qualify, we'll route you over to the office. And if you don't, we'll still give you some resources in a text message or an email so that you have some support moving forward. People were perfectly happy to do that rather than, and the thing is too, if they yelled agent at the phone, the AI could say, it could look and say, I can absolutely route you over. Just so you know, you'd be looking at about, however, if there was a wait time, it would provide the person with that information and say, are you sure you don't want me to help you? Because I can route you to someone whose phone line is open. Not just the screener people in the office, but the lawyers themselves or somebody that's a little bit higher of a level. So we found that those were kind of working really well. But yes, we do want to share with you one of the other more complex, I would say, industries that we've worked in. And I know our demo last week had that as well. So I highly encourage you to check that out, is our ACA agent, the Affordable Care Act. So it's all about health insurance. And I believe we have, can we share, I think Rob needs to share his screen.
Yep. Here we go. I'm going to share. It should pop right up. All right, Rob, there you go.
Good to go. Yeah. So essentially, guys, this is a client that came to us. They were running a ACA health insurance agency. They had a call center where they had been stacking leads for years. Old data that they had just accumulated that they weren't really doing anything with. And they came to us. They asked us to put a reactivation campaign together for them, where was essentially just reviving dead leads. It was a live transfer model. So the agent would contact the prospect, speak to them, qualify them, ask them some questions to see if they would be a good fit, and then live transfer the call over to an actual human agent, which, to Dan and Brittany's point that they were mentioning before, a lot of our experience in this so far, and I guess your experience as well, John, with what you saw with American Honda is, you definitely still want to, as we adapt into this new technology and the world kind of switches over to this new layout, there still needs to be kind of like a middle ground, right? And maybe before going full AI right off the bat, there's a good amount of where AI could help humans, as opposed to just going full sci-fi movie, right? So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, these are just some numbers that we got from the campaign that we ran for these guys, the Obamacare campaign. It was 500,000 leads that we put through the system. You can see we had about a 36% answer rate. Obviously, a lot of the calls were never picked up. Out of these conversations that we did have, we got about 22% conversations out of those, and 19% of those resulted in a live transfer. So we got a little over 7,000 live transfers for these guys, and this was just in 1 month of running a campaign for them. So essentially, for that entire month, they borderline replaced their dialer system with our AI model because their phones were going off back to back. But their agents, rather than doing the full cold call themselves, where they were essentially calling someone and getting hung up on within the first 5 seconds, we kind of handed that off to AI. And they were essentially getting transfers over of people who were ready to go, and people who were interested in the service. So that's a really good example of, being able to implement this, not necessarily going all the way as far as having it go through all the way on the sale. And I remember, man, when we first got started and all this stuff, our first thing was, how can we get this to go through the entire sale? I remember we would have it send you a link live on the call, and then it would try to guide you through pressing all the different buttons to sign yourself up online. We realized that's not really going to work because there's a lot of human error there, right? So we went back and we said, you know what, a live transfer model would really kill in this industry. I have a lot of background in that industry as well. So it helped us with getting that built for these guys. But again, great success there. And that was essentially a study of what we were able to get this thing to actually do, and a great representation of the volume that you can do with this thing within a month. I think a huge point whenever you're running a call center or anything like that, if you have a script, one of the biggest issues, especially call centers that are just starting out, is switching that script every day because they don't know what's working and they think that the only determining factor on anything is that script, right? And it's hard to do that because every time you switch the script, well, you're not getting enough data to make changes based off of, hey, you know, this part of the script, it seems that people drop off here often. Maybe we need to change this part. And what this allows you to do, man, is being able to trigger 100, 1,000, 10,000 calls today, allowing you to essentially get results or data on how a script is performing same day and actually make changes based off data, not just, oh, I hope that this works, you know?
Right. And I know we had mentioned this on our last call too, but that's really what brought all three of us together. That's what brought Rob to us, is we all had call center experience. Dan and I have been in call centers for financial advisors and lawyers for 6 years. And the joke is, if you can do call centers for financial advisors and lawyers, you can do them for anyone, because there are so
I believe that
rules, which is really, I mean, there are those rules for a very good reason, right? There's no problem with that, but the great part is we're really highly aware of those rules, and we really do take that seriously. That's something that I think people's integrity it's a really interesting time, right? Because people's integrity is really kind of coming out right now. And something that we really have a passion for too is being able to help entrepreneurs that maybe you do want to have your own agency, or maybe you are in a DIY phase and you are not a large business and you want some help and you want some guidance. And we actually have a gentleman that we just helped out, and I would love it if Rob could kind of break down what we were able to do for him through our mentorship as well.
Well, that'd be great. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, sorry. Didn't realize I was muted there. My apologies. Yeah, we were actually able to help. So we essentially mentored a new agency owner who was getting into the space, who didn't really know what they were doing, but they were convinced that this was something that they wanted to get into. They also had a lot of background in call centers. And so they came to us, and we essentially just put them through the ringer, right? We showed them everything that we've been doing. A lot of the content that we kind of educated this guy on was what you would see on that $97 course that we're going to be having on Saturday. And essentially it's just kind of giving you like the basics so that you can get going and be able to deploy something to the market within a matter of days, as opposed to weeks or months. And just essentially we came in, we were able to train him up. We got him to go out into market to the point now where he has 2 clients that he's working with, and he's actually offering these services too. So it's been a great help for him, and it's something that now he's kind of in the middle of deciding whether he wants to quit his job and go at this full time or not. Yeah,
we love making more entrepreneurs, so
it's super exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely. And not only for, helping other agency owners get started and pick up and get going, but also helping out the clients at the end of the day, making this accessible to more and more businesses across the world, making sure that this isn't something that's going to be gatekept. I think everyone has this fear with AI that the government is going to control all of it. And we're kind of trying to break that barrier and say, hey, we're putting this in everyone's hands. We're trying to get everyone to get started with this and start using this because we truly believe it's going to change the world, and we want to make sure it's done right. Like Dan and Brittany were saying, Disney character, not necessarily trying to replace or replicate humans. I don't think that's going to be the way to go for this because it ends badly for all of us, right?
And I would love it if we can, since we promised, can we show the people all the new stuff that's coming out? So I
sure.
Love this.
No, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
while Rob's pulling, just tell me where to share it on. I can pull that up. Which screen is it going to be on? Dan and Brittany, or on Rob's?
Rob's.
On mine.
Right.
On mine. But I think you had a question, or you wanted to make a point there, John, regarding.
Well, I want you guys both made a point that I think is really valid, and I've got a kind of real life scenario about not necessarily trying to come off as though you're a human being. Coming off, I did that up front. You guys are in my Facebook group, and if you're in my Facebook group, you guys know I use AI generated images all the time, but those images are are cartoonish in character. They're fun, they're humorous, it works. But one of the main reasons I chose to do that is because nobody gets upset if a elbow is in the wrong place or you got 6 fingers on a cartoon. Something, by the way, we know that AI image generators tend to do on a regular basis. And I think that same thing carries over into what you're doing on the voice side, is if you try to replicate being human in a perfect world, we just pick up on idiosyncrasies that aren't quite right. I love how you said, Brittany, on the ones that, when you were calling out, you were saying, hey, I'm a bot and here's what I'm doing, and then I'll transfer you when we're done. To me, as a consumer, that's great because you're respecting my time. You're helping me out. You're leading me in the right direction. And it's just a matter of, again, making sure you're communicating effectively, which is how you build any relationship. So
you're absolutely right. It causes such a conversational breakdown, I think, when you aren't doing those things in integrity, because even if, I think many of us are familiar with talking to IVRs and things like that. So as long as those expectations are set, then you can have a high level of trust, right? If those expectations aren't set, it causes a conversational breakdown immediately. And that's exactly what we're trying to avoid by putting this type of tool in, is to be able to get the pieces of the calls that would be saving people's valuable time handled by a tool, rather than taking away someone's time and leaving those more, those higher level, higher risk things that really do need a human touch to people.
No, it makes perfect sense. All right. Well, Rob, you were going to show us some of the new features that are coming out. Or I should say somebody is. Is that going to be Rob, or who's going to share that so I can make sure we get the right screen up? Rob is. All right. Can I share your screen, Rob?
Yes,
We
sir.
all set?
Absolutely.
All right.
We're good to go.
Here we go.
All right. So we kind of wanted to show you guys, this is, again, this is us showing off that we're at the pinnacle of everything that there is.
I love
AI,
this.
right? So this is a new platform that very recently came into the market. It's super awesome. I don't know if you guys can kind of tell what's going on here on the screen, but I'm going to dive into it. Essentially, this platform is a two-way platform. I'll get a little bit more in depth with it, but essentially, as you can see here, it is essentially tracking my facial expression to determine what I seem like or what kind of emotion my face is giving off right now. So you can see concentration, calmness, confusion, boredom. I don't know where it's getting confusion from. I'm pretty certain, but you can see here all the different emotions kind of jumping up depending on the conversation. So if you got a little bit sadder,
I love it. As you smiled there, it just brought up joy. I love that. I mean, it's very, very quick. That's impressive.
That's correct. Yes, sir. And so this is all happening. It's essentially frame by frame. You can see an embedding plot over here where it kind of guides, depending on what it sees in my face, it'll throw it off into that direction. It's kind of just like a way to visualize it, right? But this is just one layer of what this human platform can do. Another layer, which is more so what we've been utilizing for it, or what we're currently getting implemented so that it can start being part of what we is over here. When we go to speech, you can see it's not only facial, but it can do the same thing with my actual speech. So you can see here determination, realization, essentially being able to recognize, for example, if it's on a call with me and I show hesitation before answering a question, that's something that it would be able to pick up on and maybe bring that up in a conversation with me before kind of jumping to the next step. So these are just a couple samples here, and then one more I'll show you. If go back to over here is, let me switch this over, bear with me 1 second.
No problem.
Isn't it so
fun? This is way cool. I mean, I love seeing that, tracking the face and the things coming up, and the speed with which it's doing it is just really just blowing me away.
Oh my gosh, my speech path brain, my speech therapist brain, just absolutely, this is going to be able to bless a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I'm having a little bit of struggle right now with getting it pulled up. It seems their servers might be down. Oh, 1 second. I think
we're doing a demo. Of course they're going to be down. That's how it always works.
Science. It's broken down to the T. Hi, Cora. Can you hear me?
Hey there, friend. Of course I can hear you just fine. I'm here and ready to chat. What's on your mind?
So as you can see, in one sentence, it was still able to break down different emotions. So it gave me determination, and then confusion. And then, we can kind of take this further. So we can say something like, hey, Cora, can you show me an example of you sounding excited in the first half of a sentence, and then maybe a little bit sad towards the end of it?
Oh, cool. That's awesome that the model can express different emotions. It's like it's trying to understand how we communicate. Sounds like you're really digging this empathic tech, huh?
Well, yeah, but you are the model. So if you could help me, I'd like to have you show first half of the sentence with excitement, second half a little bit sad, if you could. You jinxed it, John. The demo broke.
Can't have
That
everything.
was still really amazing, though. I mean, it's doing that? I guess would we call that sentiment analysis? Is that the right thing to call that at that point in time? And
Yes.
doing
sir.
that in real time, because I know that's always been one of the reasons that so many of the bots I know deal just with text, because by the time we analyze everything and we do the sentiment analysis and we determine are they happy, or are they pissed off, or where are they on the scale, that there's too much of a lag. And so
That's
we had
right.
to do it via text, because you buy yourself seconds easily when you're doing text messaging as opposed to voice. I was really amazed to see that, Rob, that as you were talking there, literally it was showing it in real time. That was super impressive. I love that.
And it's
Yes,
Any
gonna
sir. That's correct.
in so many industries, right? When you look at legal, when you look at funeral homes, when you look at different industries in general, where that sentiment analysis and
really
prosody
important.
right, it's really important. You can't have an AI really excited when somebody's just shared really serious negative news, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it causes those conversational breakdowns. 90% of our communication is nonverbal. It's not the words we say, it's the way that we
Tone.
say it, it's tonality, it's prosody, you're right.
Yep.
It is really important. And I'm so excited to see when this, and really we're very close to it, to have these things. One of the AI platforms we use in particular, because even though we're talking about Thoughtly on Saturday, because really it's just the most accessible and the most safeguarded for those of you that are not programmers.
Mhm.
But we will, we use all of the platforms, and like I said, that freebie that we're giving out is a really nice breakdown of who we would recommend what for. But
Yeah.
there is a platform that's really excellent, that is a lot more developer heavy, that we use, called Vappy. And Rob is our Vappy expert. And Vappy is already looking at being able to integrate into the future here, in the like short future, this sentiment analysis, the customization of even data points, John, like you had mentioned, like latency, being able to really target that and customize it and shorten it. And I think you really had recognized that, but a lot of the platforms out there right now, they haven't gotten quite there yet when it comes to latency, and it can create a bit of a confusion. And I actually loved that during the demo that we did last week, where we actually demoed one of the ACA agents that we created. So that
Yep.
case study that Rob provided, that was that agent. And whenever we were talking, I think we, all three of us, John and Dan and I, all started talking. And if you ever watch back to the demo, it's actually a really excellent example. You always think of things later, because I was in the moment, I didn't think of it, but later on I was like, what a beautiful example of the fact that the AI recognized that all three of us were talking to each other. It stopped, it waited for us to finish, and then it went back into the script. Because that's what happens in real life when you're home. Your wife doesn't know you're on the phone, and she starts screaming at you, and the kids start crying.
Yes, exactly.
So it's really cool to see just how advanced everything is getting, and how much we can help people.
Yeah, on every level too. Like from if you're looking to get it done for yourself and have us do it, we can go as far as you want as far as customization goes. But if you want to just do it yourself, which I think a lot of people just want to get in there and see what it's actually capable of, maybe put an assistant up on your website so it can answer basic questions and schedule your appointments so you're not missing calls. I see that happen on service industries all the time. Just people are missing calls because they're on jobs. So why not AI do those kind of things?
No, and
Well, and I love what you're talking about there, that again, we can do it, but it doesn't have to be a DIY scenario. You guys can, I'm assuming, take over the whole process for us, and then even go even much more advanced than what we're seeing here, if that's what we need at that point. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Absolutely. And that's something that we wanted to be really sure of with this $97, this voice AI accelerator. If you get into this, you start seeing it, you get excited about it, and then you say, you know what, I would rather have you guys just take this over. I don't want to worry about it. I want to make sure that it's constantly up to date, that I have all of the latest and greatest, that I know what's going on in the industry, that I don't have to be afraid of legality because you guys are going to watch that for me. Then we will apply this course towards anything that you do with us. So we really wanted it to be an evergreen investment, something that was easy, something that was educational, and something that made it accessible to people who are capable and would be, again, Dan had mentioned that example, but we have plenty of friends who are plumbers, roofers, and people in our town that we were able to give them a little DIY agent, and it completely changed their business, and they weren't losing leads anymore because they missed a call on a job and their prospect just went to the next person on Google.
Yeah, and that is such a good point. I literally had to call a handyman this morning, and I called 3 because the first 2 that I called didn't answer the phone. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have been able to do a great job, but I had to get it off my list because in this case, it's a furnace that's not working, and we're up in Michigan, and at night it's starting to get cooler. So I got to get this fixed in the relatively near future. I can't wait a week, a month, whenever. And so I did. I kept making phone calls until I got a response. And ironically, I didn't think about it till right now. The response I got back was actually a text message saying, "Great, we missed your call. How can we help you?" And then I immediately said, "Here's what I'm looking to do." And it booked the appointment and everything got set. I have no idea whether that was live or a person, but here's the thing. I don't care. I'm just, it was off my list. The appointment's been scheduled and I'm happy.
Yep.
That's exactly it. And just like Dan had mentioned a couple of minutes ago, there are some people right now that the voice AI, having somebody on the phone, just first of all, isn't a need for them right now. And second of all, just is something that they're not quite ready to get into yet. And so if you are someone that wants to have those exact same safeguards, but you want a text agent, or you just need a simple chat bot on your website that won't break, that can do scheduling for you and answer FAQs, we're more than capable of being able to handle that for you. And, we're excited to do it. We love to be able to help entrepreneurs. That was really why, John, we were so drawn to you right away. So we said, these are all our people, all these people that are following John. He has so many entrepreneurs that follow him. And we said, that's who we like to support. That's who we're excited to serve.
Definitely.
Well, awesome. Well, again, I want to thank you guys. We want to remind everybody. So Dan and Brittany have made us a great offer for members of the group and anybody that's following me. I know I'm streaming on all my channels right now, but if you're watching this either live or on the replay and you're interested, just go ahead and follow that link that you see up there for the Voice AI Accelerator. And Dan and Brittany, for those that maybe joined us later, whatever, I'll let you remind them once again what they're going to get and the details on that, if you would.
Absolutely. So this will be held this Saturday, which is September 21st, and it will be at 12 p.m. Eastern. However, it will be evergreen. So if you can't attend live, no problem. There will be a recording for you. And what you'll be getting is 50% off your first minutes. You'll be getting an hour-long course where we show you exactly how to hook this thing up to a phone number. And we're going to give you a template library of agents that we've already created, that our team has been testing extensively, that are safeguarded for a number of really popular industries and people that we know it will serve. And even if you see something on there that's not exactly what you need, more than likely you'll be able to take that template and just put a couple tweaks in there and have it do what you need to do. Yeah. And of course, if you have really specific questions as you're programming your own agent, then we're happy to help you with that as well. So all of that support will be there.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. We talked earlier about if you've thought about this. I mean, think about it, guys. A way for you to actually get a bot working for your business for $97. And Brittany, am I correct? And Dan, that most people are going to walk off this call and have a bot that's either ready or nearly ready based upon that hour. Am I correct on that? I don't want to misstate that.
Yeah, so they'll actually have everything they need to get it started. Thoughtly does require you to fill it up with some minutes, but realistically, you can fill it up for $10 to $20, and that includes a phone number, and you'll be ready to go. So, the Thoughtly makes their money on that side of it, but you will have everything from us that you need to start with Thoughtly. And Thoughtly also has video conferencing bots and SMS bots, which we'll kind of go over, but it's really the same kind of concept. It's got that decision tree style, but then it happens in either text messages or a video call, which is actually pretty cool. You can do like interviews and things like that.
Oh, that's super cool. That's super cool. And again, everybody, if you don't know, yeah, I mean, we have to pay for the minutes. It's part of what happens. It's like making phone calls. You got to do that. That just kind of comes along. It's like changing the oil in your car, putting gas in your car. It's something you got to do if you want to use it. But that is, that's super affordable. I want to thank you guys for making that offer, because it really is an amazing offer that I could get that set up and have everything I need and have that guidance. And for me, at least, to have that replay available, so that if I either can't make it because Saturday morning things happen sometimes and I can't make it, or if I just need to go back through it again, I love having that replay available. So thank you guys for making that offer. I want to thank Rob. You and I just met as we got in today. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this call and to chat about everything that's going on. Dan and Brittany, again, super thankful for you guys for reaching out and having the opportunity to share this with our community and helping assuage some of those fears that admittedly I've had throughout that. And you guys were really good about addressing that when I said, I'm not so sure I like these AI bots, and here's why. So you guys have been amazing. And I just want to say a huge thank you to you for that.
And thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yep. No, we've had a number of comments in on the chat. Looks like people are definitely interested. So thank you again. With that, I'm going to tell everybody, make it a great day. If you're watching live or replay, by the way, we would love your comments. If you guys like this type of thing, we're thinking about doing more and more of this in the group. If you want more live this from somebody that I've had a chance to talk to and trust to deliver solutions, let me know in the comments so that we can make sure we do more of these as well, because there's lots of vendors out there. And before I bring somebody into you, Dan and Brittany and I have had many conversations before we even agreed to get to this point. So I trust them. I trust that they're going to deliver a good solution. And I want to know if that's value to the group. So with that, everybody, make it a great day.